En dit is dus Ira Cohen, de maker van deze film Kings with Straw Mats. Kwaliteit is zichtbaar van een jaar of 20 geleden. Het interview wat nu met hem volgt werd kort geleden opgenomen op Schiphol. Hij was in Nederland, vertrok naar New York en we praten met hem over zijn trip deze zomer naar Italië, over kunst, over gedichten en over wat het eigenlijk allemaal betekent.
Love your face.
Last time you did all the star shit, so...
Where's the stars?
I have stars. Hello. Yeah, you like that? What? The underwear? This is Humphrey Bogart speaking to you from Schiphol. Listen, did that plane come in with that shit from Bombay? Huh? All right, well, just if there's any problem, just send Elizabeth Taylor over. She'll take care of it.
Okay.
You want me to take the hat off?
Ira Cohen, poet, filmmaker, photographer. Someone who has been popping in and out of Amsterdam for the past few years, and in fact popping in and out of my life. And now one of the things is I write a little bit of poetry, but compared to Ira, I don't know anything about poetry. And that's one of the things that amazes me. When I ask you, Ira, about a good poet, you always know who is a good or who's a bad. You were mentioning a female poetress.
Well, just call me Pop.
Oh, I call you Pop.
I'm going to start crackling soon.
No. But you were mentioning some...
Yes, I was mentioning Marina Tsvetaeva. Tsvetaeva, I usually say, but sometimes I think I don't know the proper emphasis in the Russian. So I was trying to get a book of her poems in English published by Penguin, and beautiful translations, which is important, especially with Russian poetry, I think, for some reason, that they should be good. That's true of all translations, of course, but the translations by Elaine Feinstein, I think that's her name, and a British woman poet, are really supremely good and carry the best quality of Marina's poetry across. And she's one of the great poets of our time, any time.
How do you define, how do you recognize great poets?
Well, I don't know. It's like, did you ever kiss somebody and actually think that it was good? Was it smacklick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you know.
Then you know. So I don't know. I mean, I could try to make it more.
Yeah, but like if you go to school, they feed you.
Think about it. It's like it's just a direct. If it's there, it's there. I mean, I start reading something, and I feel that I'm taken somewhere. I'm inspired. I'm touched. I'm transported, and that's what poetry can do. And that's why man cannot live by bread alone. All that, those cliches. That's what that means. Gregory Corso said, poetry is king, and that's what he meant also, because you can accomplish something in a poem that people really shouldn't live without, even if they don't think they give a damn about poetry. And I know that most people I speak to, including people who consider themselves educated, whatever their profession, but if I speak to them about poetry for 1 minute, I can simplify everything by just asking them if, oh, by the way, can you actually tell me the names of 3 poets who are living on the planet Earth today? And very few people can do that, except poets. You know, I don't know. So,
now, poetry in a way is
very important, but it still stays mysterious to most people.
You just said poetry is king. The media industry now say content is king or broadband is king. And with broadband, which means broadband, you know, which means full broadband. That means a video with tridimensional sound, stuff like that.
Advertising will say that Kleenex is king, isn't it? Or is that queen? No, I'm saying there's somebody saying, what if they're selling something, then they say that that's top of the line, king, queen, you know. Duke or Earl, it's just a question of sales.
It's this opposition.
It's a question of sales in the commercial world. As it happens, poetry is one of the few things besides, well, I don't know, a serious priest, you know, might have a vocation which he's doing, you know, it's something he's doing not primarily because it's the most remunerative job he could get, but poetry is holy in the same way, and it hasn't got to do with money, so nobody is advertising, poetry as a product, and
But would that mean that in the days of the internet, in the days of the...
it means bullshit. I mean, there's nothing on the internet, and unless it happens to be a poem that escaped from jail and landed on the internet by accident. There's a lot of information if you want to see where you can get shoes sent to your home.
Wait a minute, Ira, you have a website, or you are on people's website?
I don't have any website, and I might have anything. I have money in my pocket, but I'm not committed to money. If I need it, I can use it. If I have it, I need it just like anyone else. But that's not my commitment, and my commitment is not to the internet. My commitment is to, something else, to say to poetry or to people, or to exchange, to communication, to freedom, to a lot of things. So,
but does it help that someone...
If the internet serves that purpose, that's great. I don't have time for the internet. I'm willing to give people something to put on the internet because, in a way, it pleases me. I prefer one book to anything on the internet because I'm not interested in reading off screens. I like the smell of ink. I like the feel of a book. But if there are people who can read that, or download it off the net in Hong Kong that I never met, I probably have a better chance, just like you can if you want to get what do they call it, a takeout lunch or a takeaway bride, by mail, you would be more lucky than if you tried going to the bar on the street where you live, So in that sense, if
a takeaway poem beats McDonald's?
No, I'm saying that that the fact that you can reach people that you don't know and who don't know you. I mean, if these poems on the net are actually bouncing out there in the ether, the whole net system, and that somebody in another galaxy can actually suck down that information and start reading the poems in their language, because they have a better chip in their brain than we carry, in our computer, and they can read them, then that's delightful, like to reach people, that you would never expect to reach or encounter, and in real life, in human circumstance.
Now, in real life, you just completed a tour of Europe. You came to Amsterdam. You went to Italy with.
Thanks to you, I came to Amsterdam.
Well, but you went around and you.
Thanking you anyway, because you deserve.
Tell us a little bit about your trip with your colleagues in Italy and what you did there.
Well, first I came to Amsterdam because you had something to do with that. And I decided, first I couldn't have come because it was too early and I wasn't going to stay and hatch eggs in Amsterdam for 3 weeks in order to go on to Italy. It would break up everything I'm doing and what I'm doing in New York. But then the dates got closer and closer, so it seemed very reasonable. So I had the great pleasure of joining many old friends in Raucourt at the Poetry Revels they held to celebrate their 25th anniversary. As a commune or a community of poetry and freedom and fun, which Raucourt represents for me. And I see many people whenever I come to Amsterdam that I don't even remember necessarily by name, but whose faces appear in my dreams, just the way they appear in paintings of Rembrandt or Frans Hals, in museums. But anyway, it was nice to see so many people, to share the time with them, to listen to them, and to really be reading poetry, as I always have in Amsterdam, to a wonderful audience of people who really care about it and can listen to someone read in English. That's astounding to me. And it also, for me, represents something else very special, because I believe in the Akashic message and in something I would call the Star Tribe. And I feel that Amsterdam is one of the true magic centers of the Star Tribe, and the consciousness is psychedelic in the truest sense. I don't care, fuck LSD, it's not the point, I'm leery of Leary, or I was leery of Leary even during the time that we were friends, and he said some very nice things about my piece on Majoon or Hashish Candy, which was charming. But the thing is, psychedelic means consciousness expanding. And that's the aspect that I appreciate in Holland, and especially in my experience in Amsterdam and in Raucourt, for example.
Is that different from Italy, where you went?
Yeah, very different. It's not a place. There's. I don't know. I don't know Italy enough to make glib remarks, and I love Italy, and I love the Italians, and they're much easier to be with than the Dutch, But you have to eat a lot of pasta, and there's a lot of olive oil there, which is very good for you. And the sun of Italy and all kinds of things. The people I loved, I didn't get to know people in the same way, but they're probably better dancers and not as complex or lunatic as people in Holland, But I find that as strange a Clockwork Orange as the Dutch, can make, that there's always incredible surprises around the corner. As you know, you just picked me up at the airport and took me to see an old friend that I had never met before, who gave me something I had never tried before. You remember you were laughing quite a bit. And who had 25 rabbits jumping around on his lawn. And you don't find those situations, too much.
Wouter Ramaker was the guy. We did an interview with him. But you were on a bus in Italy with some old friends, some colleague poets.
We don't know what we can call them, but there were a bunch of Americans on this tour.
Who were there with you?
Pullman My Daisy, is a play on Pull My Daisy, and we were on a Pullman bus. So in Sardinia and also in Rome, Alejandro Jodorowsky and Steve Lacy and Irene Aibi were featured performers. Steve and Irene left after Rome to join some other jazz festivals, and they're old friends of mine, and they're really great performers. Jodorowsky made the film El Topo and is quite famous, especially, I guess, in Paris, and building a reputation more in Italy, publishing books there. And I was actually called by Alejandro, it's not my rap about myself, the man who découvert El Topo, which is true. I don't want to go into all the things I did to help Alejandro. I had no power, but I had power, from a powerless place. And I couldn't have done that for myself, or I couldn't do it just for anybody, but the circumstances were right. So El Topo became an overnight success due to my efforts. And I saw him again there, but we were not on good terms for some years. And he was a little sluggish on a human level to respond to me directly as a person. He said somewhere, I don't know, I don't want to get into all this other. Who else was there? Then, I don't know, you plied me with drink, before this interview. I don't know, I've had...
No, but tell me, at the end of it you met a few Nobel Prize laureates?
No, there were a lot of wonderful people on the bus. There was Ed Sanders, who was singing, how does it go? He was one of my heroes, which is a song about his guru, Allen Ginsberg. And then there was Ann Waldman, who was with Allen in Boulder at the Naropa, School of Disembodied Poetry, doing some very strong shamanic performances. John Giorno, who was wonderful, doing his special things and doing them half in Italian. Funny because he is of Italian parentage, and his Italian is very New York.
How is it? You have been on the stage on this tour with people speaking Italian, with people speaking Greek. They're all doing poetry in their own language, like you do.
In this case, it was mostly American with Italian translations. It was a little bit cumbersome to read because only the poems that had been translated into Italian could be performed, and then half the time had to be given for a live, person to speak the poems. But it was all fine. Janine Palmi Vega was one of the better poets. Marty Matz, a good friend from the Bronx, and of course the remarkable Jack Hirschman and Agneta Falk, his wife, were also part. I might be leaving some other people out, but forgive me for leaving anybody out. Everybody.
Did you have a feeling that the Italians like this kind of stage?
Yeah, the Italians are very open. They were a very good audience. I didn't feel they were necessarily the hippest audience. I think Amsterdam is one of the hippest places. It's not an accident that in my first days in contact with Simon Vinkenog and whatever, that we were writing to each other like, Amsterdam Magic Center to Tangier Magic Center, New York maybe Magic Center, I don't know. So, you know...
Do you feel these people share the old dream of the 60s and the 70s? Because you are still like a political poet. You talk about the psychedelic...
There's a very strong left-wing thing in Italy. I actually helped change the drug laws in Italy through a whole complicated story I won't go into, where I created a group called the Eternal Committee, you know, to set right an injustice about people being arrested in a totally improper way. Some of those people were from the Living Theater, but other people from Italian spaghetti western films, movie star, and beautiful girls, all taken off in some way, and I did something which caused them to change the laws. This is many years ago. But I would say in Italy people are very open, and some people are very nostalgic, and many people were coming up just like kids trying to get autographs, you know, from movie stars. So, I mean, it's a mixed bag in another way. And then when we finally got to Amalfi, part of the people, a number of the poets on that tour, myself included, you know...
Amalfi is a coastline.
On the coast, you know, southern coast of Italy, very beautiful there. And we read in an exquisite old church in the museum extension of that church, and that we were joined by 12 other poets from different countries. So there was a certain group from Bosnia and Herzegovina, like Izet Surilic, a 70-year-old beautiful poet who was up for the Nobel Prize last year and may get it next year or what. Anyway, whatever, prizes don't really mean a hell of a lot to me, though I wouldn't mind getting one, especially if it carries a stipend for the rest of my life and maybe a free jacuzzi. You know, I like to work. I need to work out, so I'd like to have a ticket to swim someplace, you know, near my house. No, but anyway, so he was there. Izet Surilic. There were 3 Arab poets who came. There was Jorge Enrique Adum, a wonderful Chilean, Ecuadorian poet who was very close to Pablo Neruda as his assistant and companion. So there was a very good group of people. Some Italian poets, one poet from Sardinia who made a great performance, plus some good musicians. So that 3 days in Amalfi was beautiful because we weren't traveling, and basically it was like being, you know, a designated hitter. You know what that is?
Yeah,
in baseball.
In the baseball game.
Yeah, because it's 3 days, and basically each person is reading 15 minutes, you know, in one of those 3 days. So you have a lot of time to, you know, drink coffees in the cafes, cafe latte, nice.
So you felt that there is a brotherhood of international poets?
No, it was wonderful. We all came together in really wonderful spirit and shared something memorable. You know, it was easier to feel that kind of quality in the international grouping even than in the American group by itself, as I don't have to explain to you why. If you had 12 Dutch poets in a bag and you locked it up and then opened it up, you might see a few scratches on a few of them. But if you put in 12 different animals, you'd be shocked to see that the kitten was lying on the dog's head and the, you know, octopus was kind of kissing the porcupine. You know what I mean?
Well, maybe Ira gave away the secret of organizing a great poet tour is don't put too many people of the same nationality, but let his international juices flow, the languages, the contact, and then still poetry is king.
Yes, but I mean, I have a special devotion to things like this Akashic message. And you don't find just because poets are poets, some people may even be practicing Buddhists or be members of any religious persuasion. But the question is, do they have the expanded consciousness view, you know, that is, that is resting on the foundation of a tradition of great Sufi, you know, marvels and poetry and saints, you know, and so forth and so on. And this is another side of my life, you know, because I spent years in Morocco and in India, and as you know, the Kumbh Mela, the Nagas, and all of this stuff, my own Jewish roots.
I'm sure, Ira, that one of these days will show a little bit of your films again, your Kings with Straw Mats, your other films that you made, your Mylar films. We spoke with Ira Cohen. On his way.
You never know enough about me until we kiss.
Oh God! You can kiss me now.
Well,
Ashwakra. Ashwakra. Really this side, you know this? Take this side. Trivanga.
Having mastered the 84,000 asanas, he learns to slow down his heartbeat and to stop his breath at will. Using his own body as an astral platform, he goes from illumination to union. And on to samadhi, the object of which is nothing less than complete release and ultimately God absorption.
Very nice position.
Amritanand Giri, 86-year-old master of yoga, demonstrates his prowess. Connecting the chakras, he performs an elegant finger dance, lifts himself off the ground on his hands, and makes his body a star mandala, the position of the unborn.
Oriyan Band. Garuda Mudra.
He brings together sun and moon, holds his ego under his thumb. By purifying his semen, he becomes the embodiment of ritual sacrifice, making of his own body a very altar. Anything goes on the other side of the river. Neither this, neither that, but something else. That something for nothing, which walks the line, too high to die.
क्या बात So we have the smoke here or?
Yes. Very high, very hard tapasya. For child time. Dwarkadhish ki jai. I'm coming from Gujarat. Dakor. My name is Coconut Baba. Hari Hari Bol. Dakor, Gujarat. I'm coming from Gujarat. God is one. God is great. God is light. God is kind. God is here. God is everywhere. Don't forget. God is one. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
We take as a matter of fact bhang out of it.
Bhang, yeah.
Bhang.
But I mean, doesn't this have a good effect on the bronchioles, you know? If
Oh
you-
yes, it has effect on the bronchioles also and an anesthetic effect on the brain also. And it brings you good sleep also.
And so what about potency, sexuality?
Oh, very nice. Potential also. Very good potential.
The sadhus are taking a lot of this plant.
Not only sadhus, even grihasthis also.
Yes, everyone.
Oh, yeah.
आंगलन जति बाला भैया को देश निकाला क्या गांडू की दोस्ती क्या भड़वे का साथ काल का बूढ़ा बचे ना बाल का
खाएंगे तेरे बाल का भजन करेंगे गोपाल का
वाह जी वाह जय हो अब दूसरों महाराज श्री गुरुदेव मुझे तो वर्षा
Third Eye receives orange cable hookup. Just book me a room at the Hotel Relax. Here we see Kemanand Puri, another member of the Juna Akara, known to some of us as Kak Baba, doing the Linga Ke Kriya, an exercise practiced by most Nagas. This discipline involves stretching the penis, rolling it on a stick, twisting it around several times like an airplane propeller. Most Nagas are said to break a nerve in the penis as part of the initiation to render it incapable of erection. Okay, the last thing I wrote in New York was a line that I said on the telephone to a friend saying, nobody ever committed suicide on my watch. I said that to Susanna Sedgwick on the telephone. Anyway, that was the day of the Mermaid Festival. But a few days later, I was in Amsterdam, and then when I was leaving, it was July 7th, 2000, and I wrote this poem on my last night here called Don't Smoke in Bed. What is it makes me wake through the Amsterdam night? My things strewn all around me, poems and photos all in a litter, dreams forever unfulfilled. I read Bone Whistle on the Peter Hofstraat on the Dalai Lama's 65th birthday. And yes, he was here at Madame Tussauds Wax Museum, along with Picasso and Elizabeth Taylor, awaiting another onslaught of tourists. Now they call it Masterdam. Everyone jockeying for position. The remnants of the Star Tribe hold their revels in Raucourt, old friends holding to their stations in a storm of cancer and Drempelfrace. While the holy men light fires in the dark night, Theo listens to a Chopin nocturne and gives his work away with a gentle smile. Simone and Edith feeding birds in their garden from their own plates. Harry High Street fills rusty film cans with water to reflect the light from above, arranges penguins in water-stained books, paints frescoes on walls marked for destruction, and I snip and snap, an autistic giraffe longing for styrofoam gardens. Oh, Lakshmi, stay the course, be my beacon of light. My wires are crossed, and I order a Coca-Cola Caliente because my giraffe is thirsty. It is almost 6 a.m., and I am on the Nieuwe Achtergracht listening to the Cantarell rooster calling out the dawn. I order a mirror for the twin who has lost his brother. I try to open my heart to let all the spirits in. I try to disperse the clouds of ignorance, the little human treacheries. I thank you for your beauty, bowing down in a field of sheep. I celebrate your celebration of life. I submit to my destiny and ponder the meaning of this eternal bundle under stars, this harbor without outlet, this flame in our hearts. And by this flame, I mean that flame no larger than a thumb, which exists in every living being, as discussed by the Vedas. So that's it. And one other little poem I give you as long as you're taping, because it's a charming little poem I wrote when I was on the tour, when a certain little moment occurred. It's called Lawrence Ferlinghetti Takes Off His Hat for Lakshmi in Castiglioncello. Here we are, just us two, in the crowd. I look for you. Here at the Sopravento, the setting sun sets your hair ablaze. And now in these waning days, I bless your brim. The poet crowns you with his cap. Your poise, your grace, captivate him. All right, I'm going to read you one more poem because Luc is paying the bill. And this is called Sahara Bound. There is nothing in this cage but wind, Hafiz. Waking up at Paul and Susan's on Bank Street, I dreamed of Isabel Eberhardt, who said to me, although I am not a big talker, I am a big smoker. Lying under the pomegranate trees in the oasis of Chenini and Gabes, do you remember the sun's rays bouncing off the salted chott in southern Tunisia? We both saw the same mirage, and then you were gone. All I remember is a caravan of strange trees by full moon on the road to Matmata. Leaving the oasis at 3 a.m., we started walking in the direction of the Sahara. Isabel Eberhardt, you know, is an 18-year-old girl who went from Switzerland to Algeria, took on men's clothes, became a Muslim, and died in a flash flood in the Sahara at the age of 27. One of the most remarkable people I know. My favorite outlaw of the spirit, in fact. So they're getting a little excited here. Poetry gets people really excited, you know what I mean? So maybe we should read another one just since they're so interested. Yeah, this is good. This one, no, this will take it full circle. This is a poem for a good friend of mine, Roxanne, a great Indian dancer, an American woman, Roxanne Dasgupta, and also for Marina Tsvetaeva, the Russian woman poet I spoke of. I put them together as dedicatees of this poem. Awake in a dark room alone, downstairs the goddess of love sleeps, her jewels and makeup in a box till the next performance. Memory dances in the net of illusion, Mahamaya, and I, unable to sleep, feel myself less substantial, turning into a memory. Perhaps it is better to have the heart of a jackal. I would not come again to lie in a cradle or to know the short wait of earthly love. Asha Pasha Vinir Mukta, freed from the fetters of hope. Thanks. This is for Ganesh Baba and Barry, who was buried 2 days ago.